Okay, so to solve by factoring, this is what we've got to do. So if I have something like this, k plus 1 and k minus 5 equals 0. Hasn't that been factored? Isn't that what made up the, what made up that stuff? You remember how when we factored we found what two things were being multiplied? You remember that? Now, to solve, I want to find what this variable is equal to. Do you agree with that? That's what solving means. I want to find what the variable is equal to. Now, notice this side equals 0, doesn't it? Or, sorry, this side, it says equals 0. So what does this side have to equal? 0. Everybody agree with that? So this has to equal this. Now, when I am multiplying, when you multiply, what gives you 0? So when I multiply, do I multiply by 1? What's 3 times 1? 3. What's 3 times 0? Anything times 0 equals 0. Everybody agree with that? Anything times 0 equals 0. So what could I do to this parentheses right here to make it equal 0? Because again, if I make this equal to 0 and I multiply this, what would it be? 0. Okay, what's 0 plus 1? So negative 1 plus 1 equals 0. Everybody see that? So I'm going to say k equals negative 1. But that just makes this parentheses equal to 0. What about this parentheses? Look at this parentheses. How could I make it equal to 0? I heard it, but say it louder. 5, because what's 5 minus 5? 0. So my k can equal 5 or negative 1. Now, do you remember yesterday when we were solving those problems, there were 2 answers, weren't there? How many answers do I have here? 2. Now, watch how easy this can be. I'm going to say set both, and both is important here. Set both parentheses equal to 0. Oh, that's not a Z. 0. So set both parentheses equal to 0. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so now watch this. So set the first one equal to 0. K plus 1 equals 0. And what's the second parentheses? K minus 5 equals 0. Get k by itself. What's the opposite of add 1? So k can equal negative 1. Isn't that what we set up here? And k can equal, what's the opposite of subtract 5? Yes, sir. We're solving. It doesn't matter. Do you want me to make it an x? So it's just a variable. Does everyone see that? Okay, let's do another one. So if I said solve, so again, there's 2 answers. So if I said solve, then I had a plus 1 and a plus 2 equals 0. What would make this parentheses right here equal to 0? A -1. What would make this parentheses equal to 0? -2. Or, if you're unsure, set them both equal to 0. They will get harder, so if you just learn to set them equal to 0, it will work every time. But I'm going to show you, it will get you the same answer. Okay? So what's the opposite of add 1? So A equals -1. What's the opposite of add 2? So A equals -2. Isn't that what we said? Yes? Any questions on that? Ready to do another problem? Now, these are already factored for us. In a minute, you're going to have to factor them, then set them equal to 0. Okay? So I'm going to flip it over. Are you ready? So let's say I have this. (4k plus 5). Here, I'll make it an x. 4x plus 5 and x plus 1 equals 0. Now, it's a little bit more difficult, isn't it? Now, this one we could easily see what would make it 0, but this one's a little bit harder. So what do I need to do with them? Actually, sorry, that was supposed to be an 8. So what do I do with both parentheses? First step. Set them equal to 0. So set the first parentheses. 4x plus 8 equals 0. And x plus 1 equals 0. What's the opposite of add 8? Thank you. So 4x equals -8. Am I done? Do I know what x equals? No. So what's the opposite of multiply? Divide. What's a -8 divided by 4? -2. What's the opposite of add 1? Okay, first step, set them equal to 0. Second is solve for each. Okay, second is solve for each. Okay, so I'm going to give you another one. Let's do 3x plus 9, 4x plus 2. I want you to do this one.